In this part 1 video, we want to look into the parts of the plate type heat exchanger experimental setup and how the process is taking place. Here we have a computer with SCADA software installed, and this software is used for data capturing and monitoring. Next is a base unit with blue color baseboard. And the third unit is the actual plate type heat exchanger unit. So all of these three units combined together make up our experimental setup, which we are referring to as plate type heat exchanger. To identify the parts here on the base unit, the silver color tank is referred to as boiler. The water is heated here in this boiler tank and then sent into the heat exchanger. There is a centrifugal pump which will take the water, the heated water, to the heat exchanger. There are open and close valves here, pipelines to transport the water into the exchanger and out of the exchanger, thermocouple sensors for measuring the hot fluid temperature and the cold fluid temperature, mass flow rate sensor for hot fluid and cold fluid, so two white color sensors there, a pressure gauge for measuring the cold fluid pressure. So these are all the parts of the experimental setup. Now we will try to identify how the process is taking place. First, the water is heated in the boiler to some selected temperature like 60 degrees or 70 degrees. The heated water, with the help of this pump, is transported into the plate heat exchanger. The valves are in open position, so the water is transported through this valve C1 through the pipeline, the bottom pipe there. Hot water enters the plate type heat exchanger, travels inside and exits from the bottom pipe and goes all the way back into the boiler tank. So this is the loop for the hot fluid. It starts from the boiler tank and goes via the pump into the heat exchanger, exchanges heat with the cold fluid, comes out cooler, and then goes back into the tank. The second fluid, which is the cold fluid, we are bringing it from the tap with the help of the yellow pipe. Cold fluid enters the system base unit, and at this junction it has a choice. It can go left or right. We will make it travel right side, and then it goes into valve C2 through the pipeline. Top pipe enters the heat exchanger, travels all along the length of the plate heat exchanger, exits from the top pipe and goes out of the system through the green pipe. It goes into the ground or into the ocean. Then new water comes in at the room temperature, basically like 20 degrees or 25 degrees, enters the system and then goes again through the valves, through the pipeline into the heat exchanger, exchanges heat with the hot fluid, and then it comes out hotter and exits the system through the green pipe into the ocean. So this is the loop for the cold fluid. We have two loops, hot water loop and the cold water loop, going into the heat exchanger, exchanging heat, and then again the process repeats itself. On the plate heat exchanger unit, there is a schematic also shown here how the heat exchange is taking place. Red color indicating the hot fluid flow and blue color indicating the cold fluid flow. So inside the plate heat exchanger, a series of plates are assembled together. Like for example, in here 20 plates are assembled together to make up the complete system, and in alternate channels like 1, 3, 5, 7, 9 and so on, hot fluid flows, and in the other channel 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and so on, cold fluid flows. So they do not mix with each other, they are separated by the plates. It is a real boundary, and as they travel through the exchanger, they are exchanging heat. Basically, from the hot fluid, the heat is given to the cold fluid. So as the hot fluid enters and travels, it is losing heat and it comes out cooler, and the cold fluid, as it enters and travels, it picks up heat from the hot fluid and it comes out hotter. So one fluid will cool down, the other fluid will get heated up. That is how the balance of energy is taking place, and the heat exchange, heat transfer is taking place. Further, the thermocouple sensors are indicated by the numbers T1 and T2 for the hot fluid, T3 and T4 for the cold fluid.